defense as well, particularly late
Yeah.
regulation.
Yeah, I think for large parts of this game, we were in our way, exactly how we wanted to be. There was a very short time period where we got a little bit stretched at the beginning of the second half. And other than that, I thought we pressed extremely well. We created chances off of that, particularly early in the match. And they weren't clear-cut chances. And I think that's kind of where I would get to your point of where we were in the second half. But we were pushing the match. We were in and around their third. And I think they defended their box really well. And we needed a special play. And Gabby does make special plays. And I was really happy to see him make one in that situation to get his goal campaign off and running in 2025 is really important for him. And, you know, but we needed that moment because I think everyone recognizes it could have been a match where it ends 1-0. And it's a different conversation. It's a little bit more pressure towards trying to create goals and score goals. But now we need to be able to have a few more of those moments and be just as solid defensively. And I think we can see 3 points out of that rather than 1.
What was your plan? Was that the plan all along with Bronny to get him in late because he's been coming back?
Yeah.
Into the flow, and
yeah.
If you could just comment on what his difficult season's been like.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's coming off of an injury, and Gabby's someone that started, I think, the first 6-7 matches for us, maybe more than that. And he had some really good moments. I can think back to Chicago. He makes a fantastic play to set up Christian. Then he hits a little bit of a run of form where we made some changes because I felt like we needed to. We'd lost a few matches in a row. Not saying that that's his fault by any means. I made a few changes beyond him. And then he gets an injury. And so that's kind of, now he's getting back in the mix, and I think this is a big moment for him tonight. And you can see what it means to him, too. I think that's important.
Thanks, Jason.
Troy, I wanted to ask a little about, you've been talking throughout this run of matches about how it's a good thing. You've been excited that it's been Wednesday, Saturday. As this game wore on, it seemed like New England kind of hit the wall fatigue-wise.
Yeah.
Was that more a factor than any of the tactical changes or substitutions, or was it just wearing them down?
Yeah, I think it's a really good observation. You could see how strong we were physically, and I think you've seen that in a number of matches. We've been able to keep trying to push and sustain the attack. A lot of credit goes to our sports performance and medical department. I mean, they've really worked these guys extremely hard and set a high standard for us, and I think we've taken a step this year in that regard. So I think this is a really important observation, and a lot of credit goes to Dave Rhodes and his entire staff.
I wanted to ask a little, right before you made the sub where Kojima came out,
Yeah.
sub then, Brandon was down at midfield. He was, kind of struggling for maybe 5 minutes to get running again. How much of that maybe, were you going to make that sub regardless, or did you have to sort of wait for him to?
We didn't have any changes left. When Brandon went down, we would have had to figure out a different solution because we made our changes at the 80th minute with the final ones.
This was maybe 65th, 70th?
Yeah, whenever he goes down in that situation, I knew he was going to continue. The communication was he'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, the last several games, Kojima has been the Energizer Bunny for quite a bit of the time. Usually 60th, 70th minute, you bring someone else in for him. He runs really hard.
Yeah.
He's very effective. He wears the other team down. It's not like a little bit strategy to then bring Stroud and someone else in for him in order to
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the way that I think Jose and Peglo and Jacob made their back line uncomfortable and gave us clear direction in our pressing was fantastic tonight. And I think it was much better than the previous match versus Red Bull. We really had just a better overall press because of these three guys, and particularly Jose.
Yeah, following up on that, basically, I observed after the last game in particular that the finishing isn't really there. It seems like there's something just missing at that last pass or two. Again and again. Well, tonight you got some shots off that they blocked.
Yeah.
What are you doing to correct that?
Yeah, I mean, trying to give the guys confidence in that area. I think the easy thing to do is continually point it out. I think it's an obvious that we need to be a little bit sharper in the final third, and also just keep trying to give them solutions about where we can maybe create an overload or, where exactly we can get in an opponent.
Yeah, following up on that, when Stroud came in the game, it felt like there was a lot of chances being created in different ways. And of course, that's, you spoke about how he's able to create different things, but what about him coming on did you feel successful in how he was creating and how the team was creating some of those chances that eventually led to the goal.
Yeah, man, I thought Jared was really active. So he was finding space wide. He was finding space in the half space as well, and him and Aaron were starting to get into rhythm. And I think Randall has a big part to do with that as well. So Randall getting on the ball allows different players to move in those positions because he's always looking to play, you know, a penetrating pass. So I think there's a combination of the reasons why Jared's able to come into the game a little bit more. But you know, again, we need more of that from our 9s and 10s.
And very quickly, I know he didn't play, but Kim came off or was injured, I guess, during warm-ups. Can you give an update on what happened and what you
I don't know the extent of it, but you know, it's similar to. I hope it's similar to something like Jackson last week, where you know he just got a little bit of something in his hip, and we have to evaluate it, and hopefully he'll be in as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mark, on the here.
Hey, Troy. Just want to ask, you've been bringing in Randall in the last couple of games, and he's been able to change a little bit of the face of the offense a little bit. Just talk about his partnership with both Jared, who also comes off the bench as well,
Yeah.
and other players in the attack, and how does he change the face of that in the final?
Yeah, I've said this now since he's been fit and healthy and back in since I think the Charleston Battery match when he has a tremendous assist to Jared. Randall's different. You know, he's got different ideas. He can play different passes. He can score himself, and you know, his biggest thing is just been able to try to get him up to fitness and sustain that fitness. So he plays really well against I think it's Nashville, and then he has to have a couple days off just because he had a little injury flare up, and he's been battling that for a couple of years. But man, he's really getting into a pretty consistent way health wise, and we need that because he's someone that is very capable of bringing our attacks into more complete actions.